everyone and welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here, hi, my name is Brodie, and in today's video I am going to be sharing with you some of my postpartum essentials. So if you would like to see what I recommend, then please keep on watching. So in today's video, like I've just said, I'm going to be sharing with you some recommendations that I think are really good products for, you know, throughout the postpartum journey. The fourth trimester is definitely something that was quite hard on me last time. I found recovery quite hard, and you know what? I feel like I really know now what I need to use to help me heal properly and just make my life that little bit easier postpartum. So once you've had a baby, everything kind of just goes a little bit upside down in that first month. It's all over the place, and to be fair, you just need little things that will help pick you up and just help recovery and, you know, just help you get on with life that little bit easier. So yeah, a bit of a backstory if you're new to my channel. Then I had my first little boy Oscar back in September 2020, and I am due my second little boy in January 2023. Now this video is pre-filmed, so I am still pregnant whilst, you know, recording this, but this will be going live on my channel potentially around my due date, or, you know, once my little boy is here if he comes early. Or, you know, I might still be pregnant if he comes late. But yeah, I did mention on my channel that I will be pre-filming quite a few videos just to, you know, get me through that first month or so. So I still have uploads on my channel, but I can actually not upload for a little bit and just, you know, really soak in that newborn bubble. But yeah, with that being said, I'm just going to go through a little list that I have made of some really good postpartum essentials. It mainly is for mum, just things that I would recommend to help you get by that first few weeks and just hopefully help you on a better road to recovery. So I've got a little list on my phone that I'm going to refer to, so if you do notice me looking down, it's because I'm just referring back to my list. But yeah, so let's get on with the recommendations. So number one is actually a new recommendation that I've found in the time from, you know, being pregnant with my last baby and being pregnant this time. So I would actually recommend these. Now I've heard so many good things about them. I haven't actually tried them yet, but just from recommendations of other mums alone, I think this is a brilliant recommendation. So these basically are some bath salts that go in your bath postpartum, and these just help speed up your recovery basically, and you pop them into your bath. They're by a brand called 𝕮𝖈𝖙. You basically pop them into your bath, into a warm bath, let them dissolve, and the stuff in here just really helps speed up that recovery. So last time I actually had an episiotomy with my first child, so that's basically a small cut into your vagina, and they stitch it back up afterwards. And you know, that actually took me quite a long time to heal from, and I think that was mainly because as well, you know, there was a bit of a lack of aftercare, to be fair, with COVID. I didn't really see many people. I ended up getting an infection, and yeah, I'm just hoping this time that I can, you know, because I kind of know how I need to recover, I'm going to really try and just look after myself that little bit more. And I think because I'm going to have the confidence of how to look after a newborn this time, with this being my second child, I feel like I can actually focus on myself a bit more and help myself heal, because I think I kind of just pushed myself aside and was really focusing on that newborn, which obviously I will be doing this time, but with that bit of added confidence I feel like I'll be able to look after myself more as well. So this is one of those products what I thought really might just help with the recovery, help, you know, just every time I get in the bath I can just sit in the bath for a little bit with these in, and hopefully that'll just help cleanse the area down there, just in case, you know, I have to have an episiotomy again. I'm kind of just thinking ahead. They have said to me it's unlikely that I might need an episiotomy again. You know, second time births tend to go a lot smoother. I know that isn't the case for everybody, but this is just what my midwife said to me. She's just said it tends to go a lot smoother, and unless there's need for like an emergency, like an episiotomy with like ventouse delivery for example, like, which is what I had last time, I shouldn't need it again. But either way, vaginal delivery I'm preparing just to, you know, try and recover a little bit better. So yeah, I recommend these. I'm hoping that they're going to be really good. This is the product. It does say here, it's midwife developed, mum approved. After childbirth, bruising, swelling and soreness of the perineum and surrounding area is common. Soak for Bits is developed to clean, soothe and maintain the healthy condition of the perineum after childbirth. It's made with Epsom salts blended with tea tree, arnica, bergamot and candula oils, all of which have soothing properties. So yeah, it just seems like the perfect product to help with recovery. The second product that I would recommend is something I've used before and I swear by, and it is this. So it is the My Expert Midwife, again same brand, Spritz for Your Bits. I've mentioned this on my channel quite a lot in terms of, you know, pregnancy related videos. I just want to say as well, everything mentioned in this video, nothing's gifted to me, like I bought it all with my own money. These are just things that I have tried and tested. Apart from these, I am yet to try these, but everything else is just stuff that's really worked well for me. So this Spritz for Your Bits, basically this is a lifesaver. So what you can do with this is you can spray it directly down below. Now I am just going to be talking mainly about vaginal births. I haven't had a cesarean before and I'm not planning on a cesarean unless it's like for an emergency, so I can't really recommend much for that. But just going off like my experience with a vaginal, and you know, I'm thinking of having a vaginal delivery again, this is something that really helps. So the way I use this is literally, after I came home, obviously I'd have a shower, I'd dry myself off, I would literally spray this directly onto my vagina where the cut is, and it just helps soothe it so much. It is cooling, and also I put it onto fresh pads as well, like fresh maternity pads. And as well, you can also make these things called padsicles. So padsicles are basically like DIY versions of this. It's like aloe vera, tea tree and something else, I can't quite remember, but I will leave a link on how to make a padsicle down below. And then you just pop them in the freezer. So you put all those products onto a pad, you pop them in the freezer, take them out, put them in your knickers, and it's basically just this on your pads, but you know, in your knickers, and it just helps soothe everything. But yeah, so I would 100% recommend this. You can take it everywhere with you. Really convenient and just helps speed up that recovery. So yeah, I will 100% be using it this time, and I would recommend this to any new mum. Number 3 would be some pain relief. So basically I remember having quite a lot of paracetamol after giving birth. I'm not saying I was like popping pills, I don't mean that. But I kept on top of my paracetamol quite a lot after giving birth because I was in so much pain down below. You know, after the episiotomy and the stitches and everything, it was really quite sore. So I found that having paracetamol at hand at home was just really helpful. I'm pretty sure they gave me some when I came out of hospital, but I just kept on top of that pain relief for the first few days, and it just really helped reduce the soreness, and it just makes your life that little bit less miserable when you're tired and in pain, and it just helps that little bit. So yeah, basically just keep stocked up on your pain relief. It's good to have it at home. You never know when you might need it, because you are quite sore after giving birth. I mean, your body's been through lots of trauma, and you just need that just to help keep ticking along basically through those first few days. Now if you are planning on breastfeeding, or you know, if you prescribe something specific for, you know, pain relief, then make sure you take that, or check with a midwife or doctor first and just make sure everything that you're taking is safe. And yeah, just pain relief is a big thing after giving birth, honestly. So number 4 would be big maternity pads. Now I actually have these here. This is just a bag full of maternity pads, what I'm going to take with me in my hospital bag. Yeah, so these are actually the 𝕮𝖊𝖙 brand. So I have used quite a few different maternity pads, but these ones specifically are so good because they open up, they're about this bloody long, they're so thick, so absorbent, and they also have wings across your bum. So believe me, like when I say you bleed a lot after giving birth, you really do bleed a lot. I had bleeding for a good easy 10 weeks after giving birth, and then I came on my period. My periods came back pretty much straight away, I think, after the bleeding had stopped from, you know, giving birth. And yeah, I just found these pads really helped. I also used, I think, Kotex brand. I've used Tesco's maternity pads, I used Boots maternity pads, but for the initial stage I really liked these just because of the wings across your bum. I just felt like I was a little bit more protected, and again, maternity pads are great for making padsicles if you do want to make them. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's a really handy little thing to have, and you will never have too many maternity pads. Like I said, I bled for quite a while. I've known some people only bleed for a week or two, but for me it was quite a lot, so I just think stock up on those maternity pads and you will get through fine. Also as well, for your first period or so, like my first period after having a baby was quite heavy as well, so for the first few actually I think I still used maternity pads, just because I knew they was really absorbent and I knew it'd catch everything and keep me well protected. So yeah, you'll never have too many maternity pads. Number 5 would be to get some big black knickers. So I actually have these ones here from Primark in my hospital bag. They are these nice elasticated high-waisted ones, and again they are in black. The main reason I suggest having black ones is because, you know, you might have a few leaks, you might have a few accidents, whatever, and this just makes it a little bit more dignified if you can't see it. But yeah, these are super comfy. I always choose the high-waisted ones now, just, you know, in case I do have to have a cesarean or anything, and you are also still quite bloated after giving birth. Your bump might take a few days, few weeks to go down, so yeah, these will end up being your best friend. But yeah, I also find that the bigger elasticated knickers are great for keeping your pad in place, because there is nothing worse than having a big chunky pad and then you've got these tiny little knickers, and you know, you want everything secure and held in place. So yeah, I find the big elasticated knickers are best. Number 6 would be to stock up in the house with your favourite snacks. You know, ones that can provide energy, like good flapjacks or like little breakfast bars. You know, maybe make yourself a little snack drawer next to your bed, especially if you're breastfeeding through the night. You will get very, very hungry, and you know, you want to just make sure you're staying on top of your own health as well as baby's health. So yeah, maybe create yourself a little snack drawer. I used to find as well that in a morning that you know, the little porridge pots that you just add water to, I found them really useful, because you could literally, as you're making your bottles, just pour your water into your porridge, and then as you're feeding your baby, whether it be breast or formula, your porridge is just there ready for you. You don't have to do no faffing, no dishes, no nothing. Just get your porridge and at least you've had something to eat for your breakfast. I know it's not the best and it's probably not the cheapest option, but you know, it's just something that makes your life a little bit more convenient when you're struck for time. Also, pre-giving birth, if you can try and stock up or what's it called, make a freezer stash, so if you like batch cook big meals and then freeze it, then that'll really help as well for postpartum life, because you know, when you've just given birth and then you're trying your best all day to look after a baby on broken sleep, and if you're like me, you're going to have a toddler as well running around, and my husband is actually also in the military, so he was away quite a lot. I needed just some form of help, and having that little bit of food in the freezer, just pre-made meals, meant that I got a good meal for tea basically, and made sure I was eating properly, because you need to keep your energy levels up. And like I said, with me having a toddler this time as well, I am starting to slowly prepare meals, put them in the freezer, so at least I know that, you know, if I'm having a particularly hard day and I'm on my own, at least I can get into the freezer and there is something fresh and home, well, maybe not as fresh, but it's homemade and put in there just for convenience for me and our Oscar for his tea. So yeah, if you can do that, then it's something I would recommend. And as well, with the cost of living, I'm pretty sure that would help save a little bit of money in the long run, because you might end up spending a lot to make a big amount at first, but then you've got to think that's going to create like a few meals for in the future as well. Now, I'm pretty sure that you can make meals, and I think they last up to 3 months in the freezer. So I'm due in January, so I've been doing this freezer prep since like the beginning of December. I have done it obviously prior, but I've been slowly using those just as we go around work and everything else. But yeah, so I'm due in January, so from the beginning of December I've just been making things like spaghetti bolognese, lasagnas, cottage pies, just stuff like that that I can easily make up in big batches and then freeze. So I'm hoping that might make my life that little bit easier when baby number 2 arrives. Number 7 is one of my favourite tips, and it is something that I recommend to any mum. Doesn't matter whether you've just gave birth or, you know, your kid's 10-year-old and still needs you. This is just a tip that I think is really good, and it is get yourself a travel mug. So this is mine. I've actually got a cup of tea in it at the moment, so I don't tip it up too much. But this was like a really cheap one from Home Bargains. I think it cost me something like £2. this has gone strong for a good 2 years since our Oscar was born, but it's basically, I got this because I was fed up of making myself a cup of tea. You know, and you just want that 5 minutes, you think, right, I'm going to get myself a hot drink. Yeah, when you've got a baby, a newborn, your time just goes like that, and before you know it, you've got a freezing cold cup of tea or coffee on side, and you just end up drinking that or tipping it. So I found that if you filled this up, it's basically kind of a size of like 1.5 to 2 cups of tea in here, and it lasts for up to 2 hours staying hot, so you've always got that hot drink, you know. So if you get preoccupied doing something else, you can come back and you think, oh, it's been about 1.5 hours, but hey, my tea's still hot, so I'm happy enough. So yeah, get yourself a travel mug, and honestly it's the best tip that I can share to any new mum. If you're like me who loves a good cup of tea, then you will appreciate this. So number 8 is get yourself a good moisturiser. So I have got this one here. This is the CeraVe moisturising lotion, and you know, you can use it on your face and body, or even just your basic self-care items. Get those in and keep them to hand. So I actually keep this just in my wardrobe on the shelf, so it's just there, easily accessible. And you know, sometimes when you're in the midst of like the newborn stage and postpartum life is just taking over, it can all get a bit overwhelming, it can get a bit much, and sometimes you just forget about yourself. So I found that even just having a nice smelling body spray, or putting a bit of moisturiser on that morning, or you know, a hair oil, or whatever it is you might like, just have it there, put it on. And I tell you what, I remember putting moisturiser on my face in the morning and I thought, wow, I feel like a new woman. I've got moisturiser on. And I know that sounds really silly, and a lot of people will probably judge me for that, but I just think the slightest little thing in those first few days, weeks, whatever, while you're recovering, just really helps give you that little pick-me-up and just makes you feel a little bit more like you. Because I do believe that you do lose yourself a little bit in those first few weeks, because everything is just centred on that newborn, which rightly so it should be, but you've also got to remember that you're there too, and you need a bit of self-care, even if it was just as simple as putting a bit of moisturiser on your face or brushing your hair. So yeah, that is something else I would recommend. We're nearly at the end now. I've got 2 more recommendations. So number 9 would be a neck pillow. So my neck pillow is actually still in the loft. That reminds me, I need to get it out. But basically, when I gave birth to our Oscar, as I mentioned before, I gave birth vaginally and I had an episiotomy. I actually struggled so much to sit down on a flat surface for ages, and you know, everything just hurt down below with the stitches and everything and the cut. So I actually found that sitting on a neck pillow, you know, the ones that you just put round here when you go on holiday, sitting on that was like a slice of heaven, because you just position your bits in the middle where there's nothing there, and obviously the pillow is on your bum, so that takes most of the weight off, and it just relieves that pressure off like your bits down below. So yeah, it's something I would 100% recommend, even if you haven't had like an episiotomy or anything and you've just had like your standard vaginal birth. Don't know if it would be good for if you've had a cesarean. Like I said, I haven't had one before, so I don't actually know. But with a vaginal birth, I know that that neck pillow was my best friend. And let me tell you, I will recommend it to any mum like who's got a sore vagina. Get yourself sat on a neck pillow, because it will be amazing. Also, I just want to apologise for the amount of times I have said vagina in this video. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's going to get mentioned, but I didn't quite realise how many times I'd say it, and it's starting to not even sound like a proper word anymore. But yeah, you know, that's just, yeah, it's just how it is. So number 10 for my last recommendation is get yourself some black, or you know, just dark comfy clothing for postpartum life. So these are actually something that I've got for my hospital bag. They are just a standard pair of pyjama bottoms and a black top. Now again, like I said before, the main reason I say dark or black is because if you do happen to have a little leak, or you know, have an accident in any form, like your breasts might leak, your pads might leak, or just anything really, black is your best friend, just because it gives you that little bit of dignity. Like, you can't see any leaks on it, nothing stains on black, so yeah, it's great. And when I say comfy, I mean you want something that isn't going to be really tight on your stomach. You want something that's going to be quite loose if you are planning on breastfeeding, and to be fair, you just want to be comfy and just able to relax in that first few weeks, because you honestly feel like you've been dragged under a bus, or that's how I felt. So just knowing that I had some nice comfy loungewear and pyjamas that I could just feel safe and comfortable in, it just honestly really helped. So yeah, I would 100% recommend getting that. So my camera actually just cut out there because clearly I've been rambling for too long. But yeah, I just wanted to say they are my recommendations, and I hope if you are a new parent out there, new mum, new dad, new whatever, just new parent, I really hope that these might help you in some way or form. Not everything you're going to agree with, some things you might find really not helpful, or you know, you might have used some of the products that I've mentioned today and thought actually that didn't help at all. What are you on about? But like I said, these are my personal recommendations, what have worked for me after giving birth vaginally with an episiotomy, and you know, just help me get through general postpartum life. So I hope they do help one of you at least out there. But yeah, it's just something I like to try and do. This is the reason why I create these videos, to try and help new parents and just give them a little bit of, you know, just to give them a few tips and tricks and just help them get through that first stage with a newborn, especially the mums, because obviously you've gone through it all. And yeah, it's just, these are just things that helped me basically. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, then please do. I would really appreciate it. Again, I did say that this was pre-filmed, but that's because I want to keep my channel, you know, just ticking over while I'm having a few weeks to recuperate and get into that newborn bubble. That is it from me, so I will see you on the next one. Bye everyone.